Tools and supplies are in the description below. Let's get started. Roll out 1 ounce of gray clay to a thickness of 4 using your pasta machine. I'm using an Atlas 150 pasta machine, and this is a 2 by 5 inch strip of clay. Now add your texture. You can use a texture sheet or this roller like I'm using with these cute little snowflakes. And now you just want to cut these 3 pieces out using the die cutter set. I'm going to remove these from the surface so I can kind of smooth over the edges, and then I'll be adding some findings. Careful not to distort your pieces. You want to be able to place the top on without any problems at all. I'm placing these close together so I can analyze just how I want to make these exactly even, so when the tie hangs, it hangs just perfectly. And I'm using tiny little eyelet screws because they're easiest for me to use with my little fingers. But you can use figure 8 findings as well. You will need 8 eyelet screws, and you can see where I'm placing them in the 8 corners, starting with the bottom of the very top piece of the tie. After you've placed those on there, roll your yellow to a thickness of 3 and cut the 3 pieces using your die cutter set. I'm going to remove these also from the tile so that I can smooth over the edges. It's not quite necessary since I will be cutting quite a bit of this away anyway. I'm going to be using a tissue blade, and that's what's in my hand right now. The reason you want to use a tissue blade is because it's easily bendable and you can get it into a nice curve. And you want this to be curved when you cut this. As you can see, it's just a slight curve, not too much, starting at the top and going to the edge of the bottom. Do the same thing on the opposite side. And then you will be taking a strip of green, same thickness, and cut your 3 pieces. Once again, I'm using my yellow as a template. Also, add some texture. Of course, if you'd like, you can add the snowflakes or anything that you like, but I like adding texture because we're simulating a coat. I'm taking my yellow, as I was saying before, and using it as a template on one side of the green so that I can cut exactly that away and use that and place it on the other side of the yellow. The yellow center will be our actual tie. As you can see, just remove that from the surface, peel those apart. You can make a template out of paper if your clay is too sticky. Do the same on the opposite side. After you get everything into place here, you're going to take your dark green, which is forest green here, and take a narrow strip, probably about 2 millimeters, maybe a slight bit more, and you're just going to take that and place it over the border of the dark green and the yellow. I lay it across all pieces, but they will be separated once I'm done here. I'm going to take my ball tool and kind of smush down those little edges of the green. And once it simulates a fluffy trim, that's when I'll be done. Once all your fluffy trim is done, take and place on top of your gray or black backing. This time is the time to make sure that the clay bonds at the areas where the findings are at. Take care to make sure those are binded together, because that could make or break your tie in the future. Now take your top tie, flip it over, and cut at an angle. You're going to cut into the gray towards the green at an angle. That slant will allow you to make this bend and curve this over and adhere to itself at a nice smooth angle. This right here is the bend. This is where you want that piece to bind together. Do not smush this down because you'll need to put your necklace through there. I'm taking my ball tool and my texture tool just to make sure that is adhered nice and well. Now take your gold and cut a square. You're going to need roughly a 3/4 inch square, and take an X-acto blade and cut an additional square right out of the middle. This will serve as your buckle. I forgot to mention, but the gold and the black clay here are a thickness of 3. Once you get that square cut out of the center, use your tool to kind of smooth over the edges just to kind of clean it up a little bit. You'll also be using a tiny piece of extra gold clay as your prong for your buckle. The black strip should be 3/4 inch tall and 1.5 inches long, roughly the size of our gold buckle. Place it at the bend of the tie and add your gold buckle right on the top. Now with your prong, make sure your prong and your gold buckle adhere really well to the black clay below it. You don't want any pieces falling off in the future. Now, using your favorite gold paint, use a ball tool or your favorite paintbrush to add tiny little squigglies and swirls and curls to each side of the trim. This is my favorite part because this is where it all starts to come together. This is the part where it starts looking like the elf costume from the movies that we all love so much. I decided to use my gold paint over my gold clay buckle here. You don't have to do that, but this gold paint is just too luxurious not to use it over this gold buckle. I think it adds some zhazh to it, doesn't it? After this, remove it, put it on a tile to bake according to your manufacturer's instructions, and we'll be back after it's baked. Here we are. You're going to want to use 4 6mm heavy gauge jump rings. I'm using gold ones because, well, we're using gold on a lot of this, so best to use gold with gold, don't you say? This is where you're going to want to place the 2 pieces together and close your jump ring. Never pull your jump rings apart. You only want to bend them side to side. Don't pull them apart. Push them side to side. It's a little hard to do this in a camera's view because I'm usually doing it right next to my eyeballs where my glasses are. So forgive me if I keep dropping this. I'm also using the wrong tools here. I'm using 2 needle nose pliers when I should be using flat pliers instead. But, you know, use what you got, and that's what I could find for this video at the moment. Do as I say, not as I do sometimes, right? After you get all your jump rings secured, now you have your pendant, and all you need is a chain, a rope, a thread, whatever you want to use to hang this from your neck. I'm using this little rubber cord because it's so simple to take it on and off. and it hangs it right up around my neck. And voila! Here is your beautiful elf-inspired necklace tie, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.